I have not calculated GDS or TDS for a mortgage deal in over a year. So what do I calculate? Well, I calculate what is the income required to own an individual property. Okay, so let's see what this means. Here's a scenario. Let's say I have a client who just wants to buy his first principal residence property, 5% down. So what I'm going to do, I'll put his qualifying rate in, 4.99, 300 months or 25-year amortization. I put the GDS, TDS here, 39.44, rental offset 20%, basement suite offset 20% with 5% down. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down. The client's name is John Smith and he makes $100,000 a year. So now I want to figure out how much of a property he can actually purchase. So I'm going to add subject principal. I'm going to type it in as home. So I'm going to put in his heat, $150 a month. His taxes, let's say it's $100. So now I'm going to try to figure out how much mortgage does he need to require to qualify, or how much mortgage does he qualify for. I put $400,000 here. The number here is $80,000 a year. So technically you probably need about 480, 500,000, or 510, and there you go. What did I do here? I'm not looking for GDS, TDS. What I discovered was if I just compare what his income is versus what the cost of a property is in the same terms, I can determine that right now 99,337 versus 100K actually qualifies at these exact numbers. His GDS, TDS is exactly at 39.44. So can we go faster? Let's say the client tells me, actually, you know what? My spouse makes an extra $30,000 a year. So I can put spouse, put 30,000. Let's call her Jane Smith. So now the client's asking me, well, how much can I afford now? So now I'm just going to do some quick math here, 510. Now I go to 620. So it's probably 670. I am doing all these numbers on the fly. About 670, 680 worth of mortgage. That's with 5% down. Now, let's go to a different level. Let's go to, hey, the client actually has 20% down. So I'm just going to go copy worksheet. And let's go 20% down. And we're going to do monoline lender. And plus, let's say the property has rental income. Okay. So now the qualifying rate stays at 4.99. Amortization expense is 360. His GDS, TDS stays the same. And his rental offsets now might be at 80/80. So what ends up happening here? Jane with $30,000 income needs $118,000, assuming no rental income. But let's say there was rental income. Let's say there's $1,250 a month. The income required now is $87,000 to qualify for this deal. But I want to figure out what the maximum is, or the client just wants to know. So I'm going to put 900,000, or let's put 930. It's around that range. 930 in this exact scenario with a $1,250 a month rental equals these exact parameters. I'm not trying to calculate GDS, TDS anymore. I'm just comparing income to income. Let's say, for example, let's expand this further. I want to copy this. So if you notice here, I'm creating all of these different scenarios instantly. Let's say, for example, the client in the discussion turns out he actually owns a rental property on top of it. So I'm going to add a non-subject rental property. I'll just call it rental 1. And the rental income, let's say, is $2,200, and the mortgage payment actually is $2,000, and no heat, no taxes, and strata bill, or the taxes are $350 a month. So it creates a negative $590 a month liability, which actually equals $16,000 worth of income. So now when I scroll back up here, we now require, in this exact scenario, $146,000 worth of income, but he only has $130,000 available. So I'm going to tell him now, hey, actually, we're probably going to drop this down to maybe 820. Yeah, probably about 825 or something like that. But then the client goes, wait a minute, Rob, I really want to get that property with the 900 grand mortgage. How much of a rental income do I need? Should I get a 1-bedroom, or should I find a property with a 2-bedroom? And I say, oh, you probably should go for 2-bedroom. Now we're going to go $1,800 a month. And now we can now take that up, and now we only have to qualify with $115,000 with that portfolio. And now we can go to 920, or 915. So what else can we do? We can now take this exact parameter and ask ourselves, well, this is with a monoline lender. Maybe the client wants to get a readvanceable mortgage with Scotia. So how would that work? I'm going to click this copy button. I'm going to go 20% down, Scotia with the rental income. 4.99, 360 months, TDS 44.4, rental offset 50%, basement suite offset 20%. So now I'm going to scroll down and income required is $164,000 with Scotia. Obviously, they don't have the best basement suite offsets, but we do know that at Scotia, we don't calculate taxes when we do the rental offsets. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So the income required at Scotia for this deal is $155,000. So at Scotia, how much would this guy qualify for? Let's go to 750,000. Yeah, about 750,000 right there. Okay, so now I'm thinking, all right, well, what's the maximum max this guy can possibly do? Well, maybe he wants to look at what a credit union might do. So let's go to 20% down. Let's go to Coast Capital. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change the qualifying rate to 3.69. That's because it's not federally regulated. I got GDS 39, I got rental offset 75, and I got basement suite offset 85. Now, what income am I working with? Oh boy, $76,000 a year to do this deal with this rental income on this property. So what does that mean with this? He can actually qualify for a lot more. Well, maybe the client asks. Then I say, okay, let's see what $1.2 million worth of mortgages costs. 139,000 worth of income. Okay, how about 1.1? How about 1.15? 1.15. There we go. And all right, got there. So we're at that kind of range for a mortgage at Coast Capital. But see how fast we figured this thing out? Going for GDS, TDS is not the way to do it. Comparing income of the property versus the income the client makes is the easiest way to analyze properties. Try it out, log in, and you can mess with it, and there's going to be a lot more case studies and more information like this coming out. Cheers.